After his defeat at Tong Pass in 211, Ma Chao retreated west to the territory of the Xiang and Hu tribes to recuperate. With Cao Cao in pursuit, he gave chase to Anding, but gave up after 2 months because Su Bo in Hejian unexpectedly rebelled. Yang Fu warned Cao Cao, "Ma Chao has legendary courage and the support of the local tribes. If you order the army to retreat now without making enough preparations here, we'll forfeit the commanderies in the area." Cao applauded Yang Fu's proposal, but could not adopt it because he had to deal with Su Bo and Sun Quan. He led his main army back to Yi and left Xie Haiyuan in charge of the defense over Chang'an. Thus, Ma Chao was spared time to recuperate, so gradually regained his strength and once again wielded great influence over the local non-Han people. For the next couple of years, Ma Chao led the various tribes in the region to attack the commanderies and counties in Liang. With support from the Xiang tribes and Zhang Lu's men from Hanzhong, they constantly raided the lands. Then Ma took the remainder of his army to Lantian County, where he summoned his allies and prepared to make his stand. Xiang and Hu soldiers rallied around him, while Yang An also arrived from Hanzhong with his troops. Ma Chao laid out his plan to conquer all of the counties in Longxi, west of the Long Ridges, and within 1 year all cities except the capital of Tianshui, the fortress city of Jicheng, were under his control. In 213, when Cao Cao was busy fighting Sun Quan at Rushu, Ma Chao began his siege of Jicheng, but it still proved to be difficult. The inspector of Liang Province, Wei Kang, may have been vastly outnumbered, but his assistant Yang Fu took lead in protecting the city for him, which greatly encouraged the defenders. He called in his cousin Yang Yui to lead around 1,000 of his scholarly clansmen, while he himself acted as the main strategist. Yang Yue was advised to set up the crescent moon formation atop the city walls to counter Ma Chao while they await reinforcements from the east. When Ma Chao laid siege to Ji County, Wang Yi donned a battle dress, armed herself with a bow and arrows, and assisted her husband Zhang Ang in defending the city. She handed out her personal accessories as rewards to her soldiers as they continued to fight against Ma Chao, who pressed the attack. After 8 months there was still no sign of a relief force, so Wei Kang sent the respected elder Yan Wen to sneak out at night to get help from Xie Haiyuan. He was quickly caught and brought before Ma Chao, who forced him to go back to the city walls to tell the defenders that no help would come. The stubborn old man shouted, "A grand force from the east is coming, keep holding out until they arrive." Ma Chao asked him if he valued his life, but he didn't reply. Ma still gave him another chance, since he had been struggling to breach the city walls for a long time. He asked if anyone inside Jicheng could be lured to change allegiance, but the old man still remained silent. This vexed Ma Chao beyond measure, who began savagely criticizing Yan Wen, finding fault with any minor detail until he finally stood up. "A gentleman serving a lord can die for him but not betray him, yet you desire an old man to conduct himself with evil speeches. Do you really think I'm a person who would rather live in shame?" Full of frenzy yet unable to talk, the speechless Ma Chao executed Yan Wen in his fury. By now, supplies had run out in the city, and the civilian population was suffering, so Wei Kang took pity on their plight. Then, after witnessing the death of Yan Wen, both the administrator of Jicheng and Wei Kang became terrified. Xiao Ang tried to dissuade them from starting peace talks with Ma Chao, but he was ignored. He went to talk to his wife Wang Yi about the situation. A leader has advisors to provide him counsel, but officials also have the right to disregard the command chain if the situation calls for it. There's nothing wrong with you being dictatorial under the current circumstances, for who knows when reinforcements will arrive. We should encourage all the troops to perform their duties to the utmost, and we must never give in to the rebels' demands. We must lay down our lives if necessary. By the time Xiao Ang went back to see Wei Kang, however, he had already concluded his peace negotiations. Wei Kang decided to make peace with Ma Chao, while Yang Fu tearfully pleaded that they defend to the death, but the city gates were opened anyway. Once Ma Chao got inside, he broke his promise, then asked Yang An to murder the city's administrator and Wei Kang. Then Ma himself arrested the head military commander, Yang Yue. Cao Cao had returned to Yi earlier, but had been too busy launching the establishment of his state to send any reinforcements. Only in the 8th month did he allow Xie Haiyuan to lead a relief force to Jicheng. As he was unaware that the city had already fallen, he unexpectedly ran into Ma Chao's unit just outside the city and was soundly defeated. Such a great victory greatly impressed the leader of the D tribes Xian Wan, who rose up in rebellion in Xi'an County and allied himself with Ma Chao. By conquering Jicheng, Ma Chao gained a base from which to command the majority of Liang Province and began influencing the surrounding area. He named himself General who conquers the West and the governor of Bing Province, while many of Wei Kang's former subordinates were forced to submit to him. Zhao Ang and Wang Yi's son was taken as a hostage to Nanjing County in the hopes that Zhao Ang would comply with Ma Chao's demands. Wang Yi was a famed warrior, so she was invited to a banquet by Ma Chao's wife and was able to get close to her, convincing her that Zhao Ang was loyal to Liang, so Ma Chao's suspicions gradually decreased. Yang Fu wanted to avenge his lord Wei Fan, so plotted to rebel against Ma Chao with his friends Zhao Chu and Liang Kuan. He went to Ma Chao after his wife had passed, then used her burial as an excuse to take 2 months off. On the way, he went to Licheng County within Tianshui Commandery to visit his cousin Jiang Shu, whose mother urged her son to help Yang Fu. From here they contacted at least 13 colleagues, including Zhao Ang and Yin Feng, and made plans to force Ma Chao out of Liang Province. Zhao Ang was worried Ma Chao would harm his son, but Wang Yi sternly replied, "Loyalty and righteousness are the core virtues a person should possess. Now we're about to erase our earlier humiliation, and we might end up sacrificing our lives, but this is no cause for concern. Does the loss of Zhao Yue still mean anything if we can etch our good names in history?" In late 213, Jiang Shu and Yang Fu started a rebellion in Lucheng County. Zhao Shu gave Ma Chao false advice to attack the uprising immediately while he would guard Jicheng in his absence. When Ma Chao, Ma Dai and Pang De left Jicheng to put down the rebellion, Zhao Chu took over and slaughtered Ma Chao's family. At first, it looked like the defenders of Lucheng had no chance, so they retreated where Ma Chao gave chase. They kept on retreating until Zhao Ang and Ying Feng arrived with extra support from their troops. When some of Shi Haiyuan and Zhang He's men also arrived on the scene, Ma Chao withdrew, being unable to fight a battle on 3 fronts. When he got back to Jicheng, he hailed the gates, but his response was a flight of arrows. Zhao Chu and Liang Kuan appeared only to throw his wife's dead body down from atop the walls, which shocked Ma Chao to almost buckle from his horse. Now stranded, he impatiently led his troops to Hanzhong, where he borrowed troops from Zhang Lu in order to come back and attack Mount Qi in Li County, where Jiangshu's family members were located. The receiving night guards thought Ma Chao's clique had retreated back to Hanzhong, so had lowered their guard. They thought that they were their own returning troops and simply let them in. Ma Chao led his men to slaughter almost everyone inside until they captured Jiangshu's mother and son. She told him, "You are an unfilial son who betrays his own father, and a treacherous villain who murders his superior. Heaven and earth will not forgive you. You should die immediately. How dare you look me straight in the eye?" With his temper ignited once more, he killed her and her son, and burnt the place down. Zhao Ang and Wang Yi had also moved to Mount Qi, where Ma Chao also laid siege to them. Jiang Chu sent a messenger to Chang'an to ask for help, but most officials said that they should wait for orders from Cao Cao. Acting general who protects the army, Shi Haiyuan disagreed. "Our lord is 4,000 li away in Yi. By the time he receives our report, Jiangshu's allies will be done for. It's imperative that we send reinforcements to them immediately." Zhang He was appointed as a cavalry vanguard with 5,000 men and sent ahead to Mount Qi via Chenkang Pass, and Shi Haiyuan supervised from behind and managed the supply train. When they reached the Wei River, some thousands of Di and Xiang horsemen went to resist them, but Ma Chao called them off before they could engage in battle. Zhang He continued on to seize the military equipment left behind by the tribes, while Shi Haiyuan rendezvoused the following day. They continued up Mount Qi and lifted the siege on Zhao Ang about 30 days after it began. By now, most of the counties in Liang had been pacified, and Zhao Ang had launched 9 attacks on Ma Chao. Wang Yi participated in all of them. Ma Chao was forced to retreat, but went to Nanjing County first to kill Zhao Ang's son, only to run into Yang Fu afterwards, 7 miles out of Mount Qi. He gripped his spear in rage and charged straight at him, but Yang survived. During his battles against Ma Chao, he had sustained 5 wounds over his body and lost 7 relatives. With nowhere else to turn, Ma Chao retreated to Hanzhong with Ma Dai and Pang De to take refuge under Zhang Lu.